Good morning again. Welcome and thanks for joining the program. Randy, you do a lot of really good work for AIM, and you've been doing that, I know, for around 15 years now
Yeah.
over at SimSearch. And in my opinion, you do one thing better than many recruiters I've ever worked with in my career, and that is why I put this on the sign right back here. And you really do take a lot of pride in finding the right person versus finding a person. And I know some of the difficulties that we've had in searches over the years for employers to find the right people with the right culture and the right fit. And in today's world, we're often just trying to find a warm body. So give us maybe a look on the in-between role that you play between employers and candidates when you're out searching today. What is it that you're discovering that really makes finding the right person difficult?
Well, yeah, I think the interesting thing is for, I guess, close to 30 years now, I've been inside the heads of both the candidates and the hiring managers. So you know
You know,
what each one.
I've been for like 200 some episodes inside the head of Burt Garland here, and it is scary. It is really scary.
Yeah, we
I
wouldn't
can't
go
get
there.
rid of them, Randy. I can't get rid of
Yeah.
them.
But it is, we debrief with the candidate after the interview. We debrief with the hiring manager after the interview. We know expectations before the interviews. One of the things that we do on the side of the hiring team is when we do our kickoff call, our blueprint call, we have basically every stakeholder that we can possibly get on that call, making sure and telling us, what they want, what are the must-haves, what are the things that are the most important. And then we, like you and I were talking before the show, Phil, we really have to take our team now a much more consultative approach. Sometimes those aren't easy conversations. If a company hasn't done a compensation survey for 5 years, people aren't paying the same amount for a house or a car or clothing or food in 5 years, so why should they be getting paid a salary for 5 years? So we get the team on there, we walk them through what we're seeing in the marketplace, make sure that we have really the hot buttons to be able to sell the organization, which I would encourage everyone to have a list of those. It's interesting, a lot of companies don't have those. When we ask them, what are some great things that we can sell to the potential candidate to get them to leave where they are now and come to you. Was on a call yesterday with a client, and we just happened to bring up, we got your benefits from last year. Has anything changed for this year? And they're like, yeah, we just shifted. Now everyone's eligible for benefits from day one. It's like, that's huge. That's a big deal. You need to get that stuff out there. But yeah, it's really a matter of looking at what's important to the candidates, which we have our finger on the pulse on that, and being able to convey that information to the hiring managers. And sometimes it's just not practical what they're looking for in this market, to be honest.
So most of the positions that you're recruiting for, you're really high-end technical positions, engineering, project management, leadership type
Leadership.
roles,
Yeah, we
and
just
so on. So what is it that, you talk to hundreds of candidates. What is it that these candidates are telling you? Because you're seeking out the candidate that's not really applying for jobs, right? Employers have already
right.
posted, they've already gone through the process of making it known that they have a job opening, and they go, you know what, this is a hard to fill, difficult to fill job. We need some assistance. Boom, lands Randy Sims and SimSearch, and they're here to help you. And you're in that conversation. What are candidates telling you? These are must-haves for me, or I'm not going to leave my employer.
Yeah, candidates, and it's all levels, and it's all levels of desires. We just filled a CFO position for AIM last week, and the same questions were coming out of these, individuals that come out of more mid-level management. First question right now before money is, tell me, where am I going to be working? Am I going to be working from home 100% of the time? Is there a hybrid schedule, or are they requiring people to be in office, 100% of the time? And friend of mine a long time ago when all this started, he said, it's really easy to get the toothpaste out of the tube, but it's really hard to get it back in. And when people get used to working from home, and feel that their productivity is just as strong and they can have a better work-life balance, it's going to take a lot to get them back in. sometimes it's not even 20 or $30,000 in an increase in salary. They still won't budge, but it's salary and it's where you're going to work, what type of a work situation, hybrid, so forth. Those are the top two questions out of the candidate's mouth first. And you're right, we're calling them, we're the old-fashioned headhunters using all the modern day technology to find them. We're not posting on job boards and so forth. So, but those are the things that right now have overtaken a lot of other things in the past, like career path and so forth.
Yeah, and I'm looking at one of the surveys that we recently done on this topic. That the headline here is companies allowing remote/hybrid work in a survey that we did. And we had a total of 122 respondents on this. So that's a pretty good group of respondents. And 61, basically 61 and a half said, yes, they allow hybrid work, right? So you're going to say, well, they do allow a hybrid environment. I'm going to guess their next question is, tell me about that hybrid work. What does that mean? However, I was really still surprised to see that 38.5% said no, they don't allow remote or hybrid work at all. So to be almost at 40% of the workforce not allowing it at all, that's a little bit shocking in today's world, because I'm not a fan of it. I do not like it. And anyone that knows me knows that. But I allow it because I think it's necessary to have the candidates and the workforce that I need to be effective. So when a candidate's talking to you about that, all right, we got hybrid work, let's put that off to the side. What's the next barrier that's getting in the way?
It's compensation. And it's, one of the things when we do a retained search for AIM is that we now feel that is so important, that AIM includes a compensation study along with the search, and as well as background checks too. But that is a great head start to get off, the beginning of the search and know, oh my gosh, I am $10,000 behind the same company that's, same size. It's just down the road from us. No wonder we're been struggling for the last 3 years. And whether it's AIM, which that's what we use, but you've got to find out where you are in the marketplace, or you're just going to be spinning your wheels and wondering why you're not getting that position filled for 6 months. It has to be competitive. Something has to give.
And so when I hear that, and I know, yes, we will do that compensation analysis and a market pricing for a particular job to help an employer. And the reason we started doing that and where we see the challenge is a lot of times the person they're replacing is someone who's been with them for a while. Right? Let's say they've spent the last 20 or 30 years with that person. That person fits their culture. The person has some skills and maybe doesn't have some of the things they would like to have going forward. But, they're basically settled in that role and they're not going to leave. And then the person retires. And they go out to the marketplace and they find that something they haven't had to worry about is market pricing that particular job, very low risk of someone leaving. And they just find that they're out of whack, and that's creating havoc on internal equity. And our comp expert, Mikey Mack, is talking about all of a sudden we're bringing in a much, let's say a much younger person because they're replacing a person who retired, somebody who's got different expectations around working from home or working remotely, a person who has different expectations around what the benefits are they're looking for. And it's really causing a lot of angst amongst the employer. So when you're in that spot and you're trying to build that bridge, you're getting the job often because they've already discovered that, right? They weren't able to get the candidates. Yeah.
And
So
I can add to your point on that, Bill. And then when they want to replace that person, oftentimes they find, well, maybe this is a way we can save a little bit on our payroll budget line. So, that person had been here for, like you said, 20, 30 years, or making 150,000. We want all those same skills, but let's hire somebody at 130,000. Well, why are a lot of people not downsizing their houses right now, right? If they sell their house, they can't find something for the same price as their house, even that's smaller. Or it's the same thing, I bought this car 5 years ago. Now I want a new Jeep Cherokee, but I want, I want it at the same price as I had it, last year or 3 or 4
You bought a
years. It's the
car
same with
5 years ago? I'm still
no,
driving
no.
the
I
beater.
was just using that as an example.
Oh, okay.
I bicycle
I want to make
everywhere.
sure we're not paying you too
Yeah.
much, Randy, if you're
No,
able
no,
to
I
buy
take,
new cars.
I walk or take the bike because you don't pay me enough. Um, but you have to stay in touch with what's going on in the market with everything else. And it really is the same. It's um, a candidate you're not going to find for less than you did 3 years ago with all the same skills, just like anything else that we're as consumers purchasing in the market.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we like to take a look at our poll results when we have time, and we're going to take an extra minute and do that. Nick, can you pull up the poll results for us?
There you go, sir. I think it's fallen right in line of what you guys are talking about. As far as if
Yeah.
you were to take a call from a recruiter today, what would be the most important thing to you? Our top answer is salary slash total compensation at 55%, and then you have hybrid work schedule at 44.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that hybrid work schedule gets it comes in words that are disguised sometimes in workplace flexibility, work-life balance. These are words that sometimes help us identify a hybrid work schedule and compensation. I like thinking about one reason why I wouldn't move to a new home today is I do not want to pay a higher interest rate. Right. I mean, I got
Right.
golden handcuffs on me with the interest rate that I have, and there's no way I'm going to go out and pay today's interest rate, even though I would like to downsize now that all my kids are out of the house.
Now, Phil,
Let's see.
did you just place a vote while we were talking? Because what came in here is 100% office work schedule. Just came in, so late
Well, there you
responder.
go. Yeah.
Who spills a vote? Yeah.
I'm in the background, putting some of that in there, Nick. Of course, I'm going to participate in our survey, but I like it for all the reasons that this survey here talks about what makes hybrid and remote work difficult. So that same survey I just reflected upon a minute ago says, what are the challenges with remote slash hybrid work arrangements, right? 53.85% of the respondents said maintaining company culture. And culture within an organization is strategically important. It's critical to how well an operation can run. 43% said managing employee performance, and we talk about performance management in those things all the time. And another 61% said maintaining team cohesion. And that, when you're talking about maintaining the functionality of the team, company culture, and work performance, I mean, that's what, our listeners are trying to manage every single day while they're being consistent. Bert would say, while we're being consistent and fair in that process. Things
Bill,
like
if I could,
addressing technology and ensuring data security are really low. I mean, both of those are less than 25% of the concerns. So interesting results there. Go ahead, Randy.
I was just going to add to your consistency piece, and we hear this a lot. You may be shocked, but we're talking to the vice president or the hiring manager, and they say we are 100% in office. This person will report to me. Now, I do want to let you know I work 2 or 3 days at least from home. I'm like, wait
What's
a
good for
second,
the goose?
how?
Yeah.
And that does, and just as you mentioned, look what that's going to do to the culture. The person that they're going to be collaborating with and setting up what the schedules are like. They have to be there Monday through Friday, every hour of the day. But I'm only going to be there maybe half the time because whatever, I live 45 minutes away. And so when there's that lack of consistency, that really does have an impact on what the culture is.
Randy,
Right.
I refer to that one as the rules for thee and not for me
Right.
type of attitude in the workplace, and that all that does is breed discontent.
Well,
See it a lot.
I don't know. I think I raised my kids with that rule, Bert. But I'm not
That's why they're
necessarily
also
saying it was
discontent.
effective.
That's why they're so discontent with you, Phil.
Absolutely. No, I like that. The rules for thee and not for me, or do as I say, not as I do. All right.
Exactly.
Randy, thank you for joining us. And I do appreciate all the good work you and your team does over at SimSearch. Fantastic. If you do have a difficult to fill job, reach out to us, let us know. We'll put you in conversation with Randy and He'll tell you, you know, how difficult he thinks that will be or not. And it's not that every job is difficult. We fill a lot of these very quickly, but sometimes we're not in the shape we need to be when we start that search, and we have to shore some things up.
Thank you once again for tuning in to This Week at Work. If you enjoy the show, please share it with your colleagues. Forward our invites. Share the link aimea.org/This Week at Work, or follow or subscribe wherever you get your news and entertainment, like LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're everywhere you are. And you can be part of the show. Send your questions and comments anytime to info@thisweek.work. We'll see you next week, 7:30 a.m. Central Time, when we discuss what's happening this week at work.